Welcome, family. I just want to introduce you to DJ Leon D. My music is a little salt and a little pepper. The salt is old school, the pepper is new school. So, welcome to the music mix, and let's get it on. Welcome to another episode of DJ Leon D, telling you about food and the rest of the world and what's going on. Like I said, I'm not an expert at anything, but I can tell you some things I like and some things that you may not like be based on my likes. Now, let me tell you something. The next few videos are going to be about places I've been and the food they offer for me to eat. Let's start. I went down to Florida. Now, I went to Southern Florida, and I have been to Tampa, Miami, Jacksonville, all those kind of places. And I don't know who in the hell told people in Florida, the people in Florida, that they can barbecue, because they can't. So I don't know who told them that they're good at it. But every place you go offers barbecue. Now, the thing about the barbecue they offer, 99% of the time, is baby back ribs. Baby back ribs are all right, but they ain't the best rib. We all know that the flat ribs, which we call St. Louis style cuts, are by far got all the flavor. But you go to these restaurants down there, and they offer you ribs, and if you say, I don't want sauce on them, they look at you all strange. I want my sauce on the side. I want my sauce on the side, because you don't know how much sauce I want on my ribs. Only I do. And I'll dabble it on as I see fit. So, you go to Florida, and, I try to find some good Floridian food to eat. Now, I'm going to tell you, in Miami, they got every kind of food in the world from South America. And all that food's good, whether it's Cuban, Peruvian, Brazilian, Colombian, Argentinian steaks. They got great, great, great food. But the weird thing about South Florida is that all the food places from these other countries are all in one area. It's like they all are neighbors. They all in one area. You don't see them spread out throughout the whole state. The whole county. No, they cluster them. They cluster them in one area. So you go to certain parts. Now, Miami got 5 billion Cubans, it seems. But it seems like all their restaurants are next door to one another. They got 5 million South Americans down there. The restaurants are side by side. And that's kind of frustrating, because for the majority of Florida or Miami area, for the majority of it, the food is local type food, and they offer you a lot of stuff, but none of it is really Floridian stuff. Florida is a peninsula. It's just out into the ocean. They got water everywhere. Why don't you see these places offering fish, stone crabs, stuff that Florida got in abundance? I don't give a damn. They offer me something like, alligator meat. They got a lot of alligators down there, and I know it's native to Florida. So why are they offering me ribs? I don't know who told Florida they make ribs. And here's a weird thing about the ribs that they make in Florida. One thing is weird as hell to me. No matter where you go, they make ribs. Well, they offer ribs. But yet, you don't see any smoker outdoors anywhere. I did not see smokers indoors or outdoors. I'm going to tell you why. If you don't see a smoker indoor or outdoor, where are they smoking the meat? They're not. They use liquid smoke, which is the nastiest thing in the world. Liquid smoke, to me, is like a drug. It has you so high, so messed up, you're thinking, what in the hell did I just eat? It's almost like eating a charcoal brisket by yourself. Briquette. It's like eating a charcoal briquette. Who wants to eat ash? So Florida also do one thing that's weird as hell too. I ain't figured this part out yet. Maybe the people down there are just stupid as hell. I don't know. But the price of baby backs and the price of St. Louis style ribs are a different price. Now, I don't know how much people know about barbecuing, but baby back ribs and St. Louis style ribs is the same damn bone. One part of the bone curves, one part of the bone is flat. So it's the same bone. It's not like a pig has one set of baby back on one side and a set of St. Louis on the other side of his belly. No. He got a set of bones, and depending upon how you cut it, you will get either baby backs or St. Louis. It's like having a different price for pork belly and bacon. It's the same piece of damn meat. One got more fat than the other. So it's not like you gotta be a genius to figure that out. But in Florida though, it don't seem to bother anybody. And I think because, see, in Florida, they're just barbecue illiterate. Now, they need to go to Texas, to North Carolina, Tennessee, even Georgia and the Carolinas. I mean, South Carolina, North Carolina. There's a lot of places they can go and learn about barbecue. And the other thing about Florida that really, really burnt me up, they have a lot of Irish pubs or Irish restaurants. Now, I lived in England, and there's one thing I can tell you for a fact. They can't cook. The Irish can't cook. That's why they invented beer. The Brits, everybody know, can't cook. They grew up on fish and chips. Now they got a lot of McDonald's, and they're fat like a lot of Americans. So they can't cook. So one thing about a pub in the UK, in the United Kingdom or Ireland or Scotland, one thing about a pub that I can tell you for a fact, you go into a pub, they're going to offer you maybe a page, maybe 2 pages of food. That's it. That's it. You go to these Irish pubs, like I went to one in Boca Raton called Flanagan's. They had about 10 pages of food, and they had on the outside menu, all foods are fresh. 10 pages. Who in the hell got that much food that's fresh in their restaurant? They got more fresh food, they claim, than Costco and Sam's Club put together. They don't have that much fresh food. Now, it might have been fresh at some point. Yes, when it was picked, it was fresh. It ain't fresh a month later. Nope, it's not fresh. So I was stunned when they had about 150 items that you could order from, maybe even 200 items. And they claim it was fresh. There's no restaurant in America that's got 200 items and all the food's good. No. They had about 30 different burgers. Beef is beef. You add cheese to it, you got cheeseburger. Now, you can take that cheeseburger and add lettuce and sour cream, and you can call it a taco. You can call it all kind of things. But don't pretend like it's something new you can't get somewhere else. So I was kind of stunned that they had all these different menu items on the menu. And yet, 5 of us ordered 5 different things at Flanagan's. 5 different things. We all got our food within like 5 minutes. We all had our food. And I'm thinking, so this food was already prepared before we got there. I mean, they had a large crowd, and it was near a university, Florida Atlantic University, I believe, is down in Boca Raton area. But they had your food out so quick. It was fast food. I mean, it's almost like they knew what we were going to order before we ordered it. That's how quick it was. By the time I gave this old 60-year-old lady, my order, by the time I went and washed my hands in the bathroom, my food was on my table. It was on my table, ready to go. And I said, I thought this was fresh. We knew what you wanted before you got here. We knew what you wanted. We knew what all you guys wanted. Matter of fact, we're going to predict the beer. I said, how you can pick what beer we want? Because we only got one beer. So we know you can either order that beer or no beer. So we know what you want. So it was kind of frustrating, because you don't get a lot of options in Florida. You don't get any options at all. I'm thinking, I just want something that's Floridian. You got stone crabs, you got all kind of stuff around here. But, when I think about it, Florida is really a congregation of people from the Northeast. There's no such thing as Florida food. I left Florida and I went to New Orleans. You go to New Orleans, damn near everything you eat gonna be out of the Gulf. Now, Florida got a Gulf, but they don't harvest the stuff out of the Gulf. In New Orleans, I had etouffee, I had stuffed pork chop, I had, jambalaya, I had gumbo. These are Louisiana foods. And you can look at the people there and they eat a lot of that with rice. Because nobody in New Orleans is on a diet. Nobody's on a diet. They are what they're going to be, and they don't give a damn what you think. They're big as hell. They're happy as hell. They eat all day, every day. So, I'm going to show you some drone shots in New Orleans as well. I'm going to show you some drone shots too. Because I was looking at restaurants to go to for my next meal. So I put my drone up and say, who has food? I followed the smoke. But in Louisiana, they sell what they have locally. They cook it in a way you can't get it no other way. Cajun cooking is some of the best cooking in the world. And it's native to New Orleans. Now, here's the thing. I've been to Chicago and other places, and they have Cajun food. But they'll say on the door, New Orleans style. And what they're telling you is that whoever is the chef or owner grew up in New Orleans and happened to migrate to these other cities. How many times have you ever seen someone say Florida food, stone crabs? You don't see that outside of Florida. You don't see it. People don't leave Florida and move to other states and say, I'm going to give you a Florida meal. They do that all the time for North Carolina, for Tennessee, for Texas. California is all about health nuts, No one, on the East Coast or down south is going to eat that stuff anyway. Nobody wants, 10 avocados and call it a meal or guacamole on some burger, No one on this side of Mississippi is going to want that. But my point is, you go to New Orleans, I go to a place called Jacquemus, Jacqueimos. That restaurant has some of the best food you're ever going to have. But now, saying that, New Orleans, on every single corner, you got great food. I went to a place called Hertz, Hurtz. I went there to eat. It's near the airport. And the lady had great food. And I'm going to tell you what I like about her menu. On her menu, you see 30 items. 30 items. But she only sells 5 of those items per day. And she posts which 5 she have. You get one of those 5 or nothing. And she gives you a lot of food. The only thing you got to watch out for, and I don't know why this is the case in this day and age, she only accepts cash. So I'm sitting there eating my food thinking this place is going to get robbed because they do got a lot of crime in New Orleans. But it's in a safe area, not the best looking eye appealing area, but it's not bad. But her food is great. And she has a local clientele that goes there every day for lunch or for dinner. Her lunches is bigger than almost any restaurant you're gonna run into dinners. That's how much food you get. So New Orleans, on every single corner, you got a good restaurant. And I think the worst food you're gonna get is in the French Quarters. Because you can go 2 blocks from the French Quarters and get great food at a decent price. It don't have to be in some hotel. They just got mom and dad pop-ups everywhere. They got little restaurants everywhere. And if you ask anybody who's local, where's the best food? You can ask 1,000 people. 1,000 people. All 1,000 will give you a different place, and all 1,000 will be right. They will be correct. That's the beauty of New Orleans that I like. No matter where you go, what time of the day, those people eat all day long. They eat without any restrictions. If you got any kind of medical conditions that say that you cannot eat certain foods, do not go to New Orleans because their food is going to kill you. The spices are off the chain. I've been there quite a few times. The spices are off the chain. So if you're going to go down south, you got some great cities to eat at. New Orleans is definitely unique. Florida, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Florida at all. Because, like I said, you got all these different cultures and all these different folks down in Florida, and yet you don't have a Florida thing. You don't have a Florida homegrown meal that when you go to Florida, you're dying to, you're dying to indulge, to indulge in. And don't tell me orange juice is it. Orange juice is not a meal. Orange juice to me is just another piece of candy that quenches my thirst. So you got all these Jamaicans and all these Haitians and all this who got great food. Where can you find those restaurants that's in a decent area where you ain't gotta have bulletproof windows to go visit at night? I try to help the local economy when I go to eat. I like to sample shacks, mom and pop places, and I do my best to avoid all chains. I don't eat chain food because nowadays, if I'm gonna spend $25, $30, give me something semi-decent. And if you give me something good, I don't mind spending $60 for it. Don't mind doing that at all. But you don't get that vibe in Florida. New Orleans, you get that vibe on every single block that you walk down or you see. You see so many places to eat at, and then you see people cooking out of their houses. I was flying the drone, and I seen a few people standing in line at a regular house. A regular house. I saw them standing in line, and I was just kind of curious what was going on. So I flew the drone over there, and I noticed that there's a line, but people was being handed little trays and stuff. And I said, let me go over there and see what's going on. Hopefully everything's good. I go there, and on the outside, she had a board with her meals for the day. It wasn't like you can pick what you wanted. She said, I got collard greens, I got this, and etouffee today. Bought me a meal, paid my $22. Can't beat it. I mean, you can't beat it. So this is just a regular house. Somebody decide I'm off from work, I can make a few dollars, got a little side hustle. I've seen that a lot of places in New Orleans. In Florida, I didn't see that anywhere. And one thing about Florida and New Orleans that I did not like a lot, but it's their culture, it's their way. They're not food truck societies. They're not food truck cities. It's not like a LA or New York or Washington, D.C. It's nothing like that. It's not like a Houston where you got food truck days and you got food truck committees and you got food truck gatherings. It's nothing like that at all. It's all about the restaurant. And nothing wrong with all about the restaurant if you got a variety of restaurants clustered together and people can access it, people can park, they can go there, they can have a decent meal. So that's how Florida operate versus New Orleans. They're not a food truck place either. No, don't get me wrong. New Orleans is not a food truck. I went by universities. I went to the Garden District. I went to the Ninth Ward. I went to a lot of different places. Don't see food trucks. And every state food truck is different. It's just different. But the fact is, in New Orleans, I didn't care about a food truck because I had enough mom and pop shops that I could just go and sit down and have me a good meal at a good price. And I knew that I was going to be full for the rest of the day. Till this day, I wonder how people in New Orleans eat 3 and 4 meals a day. You can have beignets by themselves that'll fill you up. You go to Cafe Du Monde and get beignets, and you get 2 servings. I was stuffed for like 6 or 7 hours. These folks ate that like they were drinking water. 30 minutes later, they wanted to have a full meal. And I'm like, geez, how much do you got to eat to get full down here? But then when I saw the size of some of those people, I knew exactly why they was hungry again. One thing I tell you, and never forget this, you got to feed fat. You got to feed fat. That's just how it works. You got to feed fat. If not, fat's going to eat you. So that's how they ate a lot. So in your travels, when you go to Florida, you got Dickey's Barbecue and you got this, all that's chain stuff. You got 5,000 Dickies. So when you go to these places, You just got to tell yourself that, hey, there's no Florida food that you can only get in Florida. The closest you can come. See, stone crabs is not year-round. But the one thing Florida is famous for, and I do enjoy, is key lime pie. But key lime pie is something that's a dessert. There's no meat in it. I'm not a vegan or vegetarian. I'm a meatitarian. So I got to have some kind of meat in it. So key lime pie is a big deal because you can get limes in there all year round down in Florida. They love the key lime pie, but other than that though, you're going to struggle to get something that's unique to Florida. You're not going to struggle at all in New Orleans. You're not going to struggle at all because New Orleans food is what it is. You're going to enjoy it. It's good. You got all the seasonings you want in the world, all mixed into one. They don't care if they boil it. They give you a po' boy that they fried. Po' boys come in so many different ways now. It's amazing. Because I thought po' boys, the original po' boys, like a little fried food, shrimp, all that kind of stuff. Now, you got po' boy chicken sandwiches, you got po' boy tuna salads, you got po' boy macaroni and cheese, you got all kind of po' boy stuff now. But the original people from New Orleans, they ain't gonna have all that funny stuff. They gonna have it old school. So, this is your boy, DJ Leon D, telling you about food, Florida versus New Orleans, Louisiana. You pick where you want to go depending upon your budget and depending upon your taste buds. I'm just telling you, if you get disappointed, don't say I didn't tell you. Peace out.
Ready?